So Belleruth is an author. She's a psychotherapist. She was in practice for over 30 years. And she's a speaker internationally. When we were talking before the program, she said, I hardly ever speak in Cleveland. And she realizes that one of the reasons for that is that she's hardly ever in Cleveland, because she's out nationally and internationally. Belleruth has been a friend of the Gathering Place since the very beginning. She's a member of our Professional Advisory Council and has been so supportive of us and all that we do. And just having her kind of in this inaugural program just fits so well, and we are very grateful. So I want to turn this over to my friend and colleague, Belleruth Naparstek.
Thank you. The Gathering Place is an amazing place, and I'm delighted that it's west of the Cuyahoga, and I'm sure you're going to love it as much as everybody on the east side does. Okay, so there's some very exciting things that are going on in the field of guided imagery, and I'm going to talk about what I think that is in a minute. But first I want to say that for years, for maybe 30 or 40 years, it was felt that guided imagery and research showed it was very good for things like anxiety, depression, side effects from treatment for cancer, nausea, fatigue, hot flashes. We knew from research that it helped speed recovery from surgery and helped people tolerate yucky procedures that they had to undergo awake. We knew all of that. And we also knew that it can really help people beef up motivation, a sense of being able to cope, have mastery over the situation, sense of well-being. But these were always seen as the softer measures in research circles. And in part, this was because fancier kinds of studies, examining blood work and so forth, were pricier, and for years, people really didn't think that guided imagery merited that kind of an expensive grant. So we knew it was good for lots of coping strategies and side effect strategies, that it helped people with pain. But in the past year, 3 studies have come out showing something that everybody who's experienced cancer really wants to see, that it beefs up natural killer cell function and immune activity. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but the reason why we finally got these studies and the grants to pay for these studies was for 2 reasons. One, in an allied field, the field of rehab, motor imagery, it was discovered, because now we do brain scans, it was discovered that when people imagined muscle movement, the same cells fired as if the person were moving. The same neuropathways were activated as if actual movement were occurring. So this gave tremendous credence to the idea that guided imagery creates a reality in the body that really mirrors actual experience. And the other thing that happened was a British researcher named Gruzelier showed a couple of things with regard to immune function. He, like most of these researchers, his pool of subjects were, I'm going to try not to trip over this, his pool of subjects were students, stressed out graduate students. So one of the things he showed was that when his stressed out graduate students were studying for exams and were extra stressed out, if they did hypnosis with imagery in it, they were half as likely to get a viral infection. And there was proof of elevated natural killer cell function. The other study he did was with herpes. And again, giving people targeted immune functioning imagery showed that the kids with herpes were half as likely to had half the number of recurrences. So So this was a big deal. And I think because of these two things, the proof from the brain scans with the rehab patients and this guy's study of natural killer cell function, suddenly there was money in the pipeline to study guided imagery for cancer patients. And there were 3 studies that were published this year. They were all with breast cancer patients. I'm not sure why that is, except I know it's a very game group who's willing to be subjects for these studies. But what it showed was, after 6 weeks of working with guided imagery, immune cell activity was very much heightened. Okay, so this is a big deal. And what we sort of intuited to be true, we now have some evidence that it's true. These are small studies, but they're going to be replicated and they're going to be expanded. And it's exciting to see this.